My grandfather passed away before the start of the playoffs. Gematria is more than just a code to decode sports scripts and whatnot. It is the Kabbalah code of the universe. It is the God code. It unleashes our reality and our fate. We surround our reality with letters and numbers, so therefore we have to expect the corresponding letters to convey meaning as well, if words and letters convey meaning. This is what Gematria is all about, and the death of my grandfather comes at a really convenient time. Right before the start of the playoffs, and my grandfather had a major impact on me rooting for underdogs. He would never want to go for the favorite. He'd always want to pull for the little guy. He'd always want to pull for the underdog. And because of Papa here, we call him Papa, I rooted for underdogs, so at a time I was able to predict Super Bowl runs like the Baltimore Ravens with Joe Flacco, both New York Giants runs. You know, I was saying, hey, the Giants can win every single game or whatnot. He had a major impact on me rooting for underdogs, and he had a major impact on me. I mean, he always, asked me, hey, flip the channel, what sports game is on, and he had a basketball hoop in the back, and he'd always want to watch me shoot hoops. He had a basketball hoop attached to the roof, at the edge of the roof, right in front of the pool, and he'd always watch me shoot baskets. He'd be like, swishy, yes, there you go, nail it, oh, close. Just really nice guy. He had a great sense of humor, whatnot. He was devoted to family and religion, and it's just really funny when the ball hits the rim or the backboard, it just lands straight in the pool, and you have to get a pull stick and you'll push the ball to the other side to be able to retrieve it. You get a really wet basketball sometimes. I'm just like, hey, Pops, too. You mind if I call you Pops? He's like, you can call me Pops. You can call me anything. You can call me this. Yeah. He had a really great sense of humor, and it is just really convenient that his death came right before the start of the playoffs, where my pick is the ultimate underdog, even though I'm going to call them a favorite, even though I don't think it's a miracle if the Indianapolis Colts win the Super Bowl. So we have Andrew Luck's number, excuse me. My grandfather died on that particular day, but also notice his birthday, January the 31st, can be written out as 1-31, and this forms a 131. 131 in Gematria is the championship number. That's why his death occurred right before this playoff run. I mean, only one being knows when he was going to, move on to the next life, and that's the grand architect of the universe, who we call God, who really understands what each person's fate is. Mr. Thomas James Flahie Sr. equals 131 in Pythagorean Gematria, A through I, R through S, singular digits. In simple Gematria, A through Z, 1 through 26, championship equals 131. It is Super Bowl in Gematria that equals 131. That was his birthday. 1-31. 3 days until the Super Bowl, from his next birthday. The Colts can play for championship number 3. It is 2019. It adds up to 12. 2 plus 1 is 13. 1 in 5 Colts will win Super Bowl 53 equals 131 in Gematria. My grandfather had a major impact on me rooting for underdogs. It is underdogs that equals 107. It is the city of Atlanta, Georgia, that we can see this coming prophecy come to light. I like how his death date is January the 2nd of 2019. This adds up to 15. What's funny about that is that the Colts started 1 in 5 this year. His day of death numerology, the singular way, is 15. It is Atlanta. It is Colts in Gematria that equals 15. You see right there? That's why he died on a day numerology of 15. Also, in Gematria, it is the Colts that equals 30. Let's see here. If you include his day of death, so the second day of January, it's 30 days, including the day of his death to the day of his birthday. The Colts in Gematria equals 30. I was a big drinker and all, in college when I'm a big drinker today. Well, my grandfather used to tell us that he used to drink and sip that Budweiser like it was soda. And I was drinking Coors Light like it was soda too, 9 to 10 cans at a night, and a lot of piss afterwards. It is beer that equals 30. By the way, he drank Old Duels. He drank non-alcoholic beer. What's funny is that, I made my bet in Vegas. I have this thing going, and my grandfather used to like to do the Vegas, and you play the slot machines and bring home a bunch of coins and whatnot. Sometimes they'd drive back and be home in the next morning and whatnot, and they'd bring home some do-re mi. There's a big 23 enigma with me because there's 23 weeks from Michael Jordan's birthday, February the 17th, to my birthday of July the 27th. The Super Bowl is on 2-3, February the 3rd, 2-3. My real name, Anthony Michael DeLorenzi, has 23 letters. Also, it is Mr. Thomas James Flahie, that has 23 letters. Rather, it is Mr. Thomas Flahie that has 23 letters. Let me see. Yep, Mr. Thomas James Flahie has 23 letters. That was before he had a junior, and then that's when he became a senior. So I like how Las Vegas equals 23. What's funny is that he graduated with a Master of Business Administration in 1967. 1967. Adds up to 23. Funny. His day of birth, January the 31st of 1935. Adds up to 23. It is my dream to go see Juve in the 23-year Champions League title drought this year. I have such an enormous 23 enigma. The Indianapolis Colts were established on the 23rd day of January as well. The Colts had a shutout of 23-0 after I saw the movie 23 on my father's birthday with my best friend Brandon Brazil. So I talked about my grandfather and the whole Vegas thing. Thomas equals 22. Gamble equals 22. I like how Tom equals 12 and he died on January the 2nd, 1-2. This is why the Grand Architect had my grandfather die on this day. I'll never see him again. I'll never see him again. And it's just a harsh reality because star of the season, September the 6th to his day of death is 119 days. I'm about to see this great thing happen for me, and then at the same time I have the death of my grandfather. I mean, life is truly black and white. They say that life is a matter of black and white, and that's what brings balance to the universe. All-seeing eye equals 119. Star of David, the people that run the show, equals 119. And I like how, I don't believe in prayer. Prayer, I think, is useless because we have to learn and grow from mistakes, and we have to really understand our fate and what we could change and in order for us to come out with a better fate and a better outcome. But fate, when you're talking about predestiny in the eyes of the creator, the grand architect of the universe. I like how it is fate that equals 32. There was nothing that prayer could do for the death of my grandfather, because the amount of time from January the 2nd to February the 3rd is 32 days. I also like how there's a total of 33 days from his day of death to the Super Bowl, and the last game for the Colts, they scored 33 points against the Tennessee Titans to reach the playoffs. Once again, Colts-Titans, they scored 33 points. I think that has a lot to do with it. The Freemasonic gang rigging the games, and then you have these special events happening at the same time of my bet. And also it is Flahie that equals 32. I like there are 32 days from his day of death to the Super Bowl, but how I really knew that his death had everything to do with my bet is that Andrew Luck equals 112, Houston equals 112, Horseshoe equals 112. You know what the funny thing about Andrew Luck's 112 is that there is a time span of 112 days from Andrew Luck's birthday to the day of my grandfather's death. 112 days. This is how I know that his death is going to tie into my prediction in my bet. Andrew Austin Luck's birthday to his day of death is 112 days. This is how I know, people. This is how I know what God's plan for my grandfather and for me is. This is supposed to bring a lot of emotion. It's been really hard day at the funeral today. I know his body is going to rest in peace right now, because he is a big fan of Donald Trump. And I know that he's just going to be surrounded by negativity if he lived any longer. And that's why I believe fate had a lot to do with this death, that grand architect had him go away at this moment in time. The day before the Democrats were sworn into the House of Representatives, the day before he would see a harsh reality with Donald Trump. I'm very confident his soul is resting in peace, and he shall know really what's happening right now. Right? I don't know how much he's going to know in the next life. December 16th, 2015 is the worst day of my life. I'll talk about that for another day, but I like how the Indianapolis area code is 317, 3 years and 17 days from the worst day of my life. That, really, without this day, I don't learn Gematria. That's a fact. The amount of time from that day to January the 2nd is 3 years and 17 days. 317 is the Indianapolis area code. That's what this is representing. This is very powerful. This is very powerful stuff right here. 1 month and 2 days, died on 1-2, Andrew Luck, number 12. His death has everything to do with it once again. Continuing on. Okay. Sorry about this. Let me go back. Alrighty, so there's that, and let me go to the obituary. How my grandfather was, created in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the grand architect of the universe. He was a electronics engineer for the military. So let me try to look for it. Here it is. Electronics engineer at Fort Huasca, Arizona. Electronics engineer, Thomas James Flahie Sr., both equal 101. Yes, the grand architect wanted him to be an electronics engineer. He was the husband of my wife for 60. He was the husband of his wife, Mary Cully, for 62 years. My grandma. He was married for 62 years before his death. I like how the Super Bowl is going to be played at Georgia. The Underdog Colts. My grandfather, if he were alive, would be rooting for the Colts. There's no doubt about it. Georgia equals 62. I just like how Fort Huashua equals 53. This is a year of Super Bowl 53, and that luck upsets Brady and pass the torch equal 53. I like how he worked for RCA Corporation. RCA Corporation. RCA Corporation equals 76. His first name Thomas equals 76. He earned a Master of Business Administration in 1967. Again, that's another 23. My 23 Enigma. 23 right here. Masters of Business Administration. Masters of Business Administration. Masters equals 117 in Gematria. Thomas Flahie equals 117 in Gematria. It is Mr. Flahie in Gematria that equals 62. My dad would call him Mr. Flahie, right? My father, right? Mr. Flahie equals 62. Married for 62 years before his death. Thomas James Flahie Sr. in Gematria equals 164. The amount of time from the worst day of my life, December the 16th of 2015. I like how that's the year 15 to the day of the Super Bowl, believe it or not. The time span is 164 weeks. This is the 164th week. The week of the Super Bowl from the worst day of my life. What that day ultimately represents is allowing me to go on this gematria journey. It's what the Grand Architect is what God intended this event to bring to me. I like how this is the Colts' 35th season. My grandfather was born in the year 35, and the Colts are trying to go from worst to first. Again, my grandfather would be rooting for the underdog if he were alive. And I'm about to share what will blow your mind. Is this legendary gematria prediction that I put my money where my mouth is on the 15th day of August. The 15th day of August can be written out as 15-8, the 15th day of the 8th month. That forms a 158. And this is what I believe I'm born to do. My birthday is July 27, 1995. It is no coincidence that I made this bet on the 15th day of August. You know what I'm talking about? It's this ticket. Now, I did not just sit here and you know, go pick a day perfectly coded, a place to bet. I found out everything after I allowed everything to happen naturally. I won money on the Seattle Mariners that day. And you know the funny thing is that the guy that I learned gematria from, Zach Hubbard, he's from Seattle. So I like how I took the Seattle Mariners that day to make this bet possible. I had 12 $100 bills. I mean, I'm just like, I had this cash with me. This is the perfect year for them to win. They are going to win it, and they are going to have the year of the comeback, and they're going to pass this torch, and they believe and luck or not, it is perfectly coded by the numbers. I am certain of this. That is a lot of money, and this is 75-1 odds. And people were laughing at this at the start of the year, but this is what Gematria numerology is, people. You got to read it right. You got to read the script right. Lucky number 13. The only loss of the season after the 1-5 start happening during week 13. This is what a real numerologist does. This is not what a fraud does, where they flip-flop back and forth and play this bullshit game. Okay, this is what people want to see, and this is what Gematria is all about. This is what people want to see with the Gematria predictions, is you putting your fucking money where your mouth is, because how else are they going to take Gematria seriously? They're like, okay, yeah, y'all should be rich if Gematria is real and all this, and this is what I'm trying to do. Because I'm a 22 for light path numerology. And the day before my grandfather died, the last day on this earth for my grandfather, the amount of time from the day of my bed to the last full day on earth for my grandfather, believe it or not, is a time span of 22 weeks and 4 days. Let's see, this is not even the day of the bet. This is my birthday. July the 27th. And July the 27th, the amount of time from that day to the last full day on earth for my grandfather is 22 weeks and 4 days. I'm a 22-4 light path. This is 158 days. This is 158 days. That is the 15th day of August once again. This is how I know his death has everything to do with him liking to root for underdogs, influencing me rooting for underdogs. I'm a 22-4 life path. And this is what I am. I am a 22-4 life path born 7/27/1995. The Master Builder. One of the most powerful and influential paths in numerology. This number does not break down because it is a master number. Your own abilities may seem overwhelming at times, difficult to manage, but learning to harness your gifts will allow you greater control over your destiny, and in some cases the destiny of others. This may cause you to feel as though a heavy burden rests on your shoulders. Be careful not to take on too much at once. This is what my mother said about that. And at the same time, don't be afraid to challenge yourself. This is the main thing about the Master Builder Life Path. And you know what the last sentence of this paragraph has to do with? This has to do with not playing chicken shit and not being scared and being able to go all out and go no risk it, no biscuit, and to not have a fear to fail. I don't have a fear to fail. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to do whatever I can. Whatever happens, whatever happens. I'm going to do whatever I can until the very end because I am a Juventino. A Juventino, one that follows Juve. And that's what I'm all about, is that quit is a foreign word. It's just really foreign. I don't know what you're talking about when you say quit, really. But really, what my birthday has to do with my coming destiny has to do with my apartment number. This is where I live. I live at apartment number 172. My birthday is July the 27th. The amount of time from my birthday, or the amount of time from the day that I made the bet to February the 3rd, is 172 days. This is why the Grand Architect had me rooming in room number 172. I genuinely believe it. Because how do you explain 1 in 5, 9 of the last 10? How can you explain this? Is it all meant to be? You gotta ask yourself. 1 in 5? What were the odds out there? What are the odds right now they'd be in this position right now? Tell me, what are the odds? But the real story mostly has to do with the Super Bowl on the 34th day. We call my grandfather Papa. It is Papa that equals 34. It is my real name, Anthony, that equals 34. So now that we're getting closer here, I want to know why I was given the name Anthony. Why was I given this name? Why was I given the name? I didn't seem to get an answer from my mom. The Super Bowl was on the 34th day of the year, and that is the Gematria value of my name. So why was I given the name Anthony? When I saw below that Colts and Atlanta equal 15, and that comeback equals 53. We had something going on pretty much. We had something going on. And I follow logic pretty well. But no one else wanted to follow that logic. So let me show you why I was given the name Anthony. Because I was named after a saint. And this saint, Anthony of Padua, he was Portuguese. He's Portuguese, and luckily, the Juventus were granted a great blessing from Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo, around the same time that all this has been happening. He was born on the same day that I placed the bet. I did not find out about this until October, I swear on my life. And he died at 35. This is the Colts' 35th season right now. My grandfather was born in the year 35. August the 15th was when I made this bet. I bet $1,200 on this. He was born in 1195. This rounds up to 1,200. This is just madness. This is madness. I did not find about this until later on. This is absolutely insane. I was, holy hell. August the 15th, St. Anthony was born. You gotta be crazy, man. Now I found out why it wasn't the Packers. The 53rd regular season game against the Saints. And this bet I made on August the 15th has everything to do with my name. This is how I know I have found the grand architect of the universe out there. Let me show you something here with my apartment number 172. Is that was the moment that I found out that something is intervening. This is the moment that I found the grand master plan in what I was chosen to do for my life. This apartment number, and what the day shall bring, and what it shall bring for Gematria, what it shall bring for numerology, and what it should bring to do the work full time. And that would be the ultimate grind until whatever end it shall take. And I'm not a quitter. Only losers quit. Only bums quit. And that's what I breathe for is Ulfe. Quit is a foreign word. The first opponent after my grandfather's funeral is the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's what I believe this number represents, is that the 172nd day is going to come, and that I'm going to get closer and closer if the Colts can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The first opponent after the funeral, the playoff run at Luck's hometown of Houston, equaling 112, begins right after my grandfather's death, 112 days after Andrew Luck's birthday. And for my uncle in New Jersey, you're about to find out. I didn't respond. I like the haters to do the talking because I can harness their negative energy into the outcome that I have. Negative energy can work against you, and that's really what karma is that by harnessing your negative energy without me saying anything back, you actually give me more power because of that. The people who say it's time to quit and all this, and I keep on going, I'm just harnessing your negative energy to manifest my destiny. So, Ed, you are my favorite uncle. A big baller. Legit. The coolest, most swaggiest uncle on the planet. How can you sit here and say, oh, the Dodgers didn't win the World Series? The Dodgers didn't win the World Series. Bro, I predicted the matchup before the season started. I predicted the 3-1 comeback for the Cavs for the Cubs, and you cannot tell me that anyone else predicted these 3-1 comebacks. Either or is fallacious logic. So what this thing is that Gematria is not a fugazi. And you will find out about that, my friend. Because numerology is making heads spin as we speak. People thought the Colts had no chance right now, but look at them. They're really spinning a lot of heads, except the people at ESPN. People at ESPN are all picking the Rams and the Chiefs and whatnot. I mean, it's all a total joke, right? But an early preview of the Super Bowl's right here. Comeback Colts. This game's gonna, that game's gonna be fucking crazy. That game's gonna be fucking crazy. It is just, wow, it is gonna be crazy. It is gonna be absolute madness. It's gonna be crazy. Last thing about the time for my birthday, the 158 again. Let's see here. That was the last full day on Earth. That was 158 days. This has everything to do with my life path. And the day of my birth, the last full day he had on this Earth. Date numerology of 41. Super Bowl equals 41. Andrew Austin Luck equals 41. So what Gematria Day is that it occurs 104 days before my birthday. That's Gematria Day. 104th day of the year, April 14th. Well, we have what Gematria is all about. So I tell the very end for the code and what Gematria should reveal for its skeptics. And what I've decoded is the ritual of St. Andrew. The first code, by taking Andrew Luck, by saying apartment number 172, by seeing the day of my bed corresponding to the birthday of my saint, just really shows that there's a grand architect at force here. And so let me show you again that he is the professor of miracles. That's who St. Anthony is. People would have said, oh, there's no fucking way the Colts are going to make the playoffs. They win 9 of their last 10 games. I mean, this is what we're talking about. It's miracle on the 34th day. And what Professor of Miracles is Anthony, is Saint Anthony. And when you say the Professor of Miracles, what I may do here, start